Hi, my name is KERNAGHAN and this is Chrissy Jones and we're from TING Yoga down in Chinatown in New York City. We're bringing you today a sequence for the fall transition. And for us, what we would like to focus on in the fall are moving open the lungs, which in Chinese medicine is the dominant organ for the season. And so with the fall, we like to clear things out, getting us ready for winter. And so this practice will be focusing on a lot of back bending to really open up the lungs and take in some breath and clear you out. So with that, let's get started. We're gonna come onto the hands and knees. Hands can be placed underneath the shoulders, knees set up underneath the hips. We'll begin with a few rounds of cat-cow spines. With your inhale, open the chest, look up, lift the seat up. As you exhale, let the spine round, pull the belly back and in, head drops, gaze to the navel. Again, like that, inhale, arch the back, open the chest, and look up. Exhale to round it out, pull back in, gaze inward. Again, here, inhale to arch the back, open the chest, look up towards the ceiling, and exhale, round it out, pull back and in. Good, two more like that, breathing in to arch the back, open up. Exhaling to round and empty. Last one here, inhale, arch the back, open the chest, and then this time tuck your toes under, lift the knees and hips, press your way back into a downward facing dog. Shimmy the feet a little further back. Find a nice long stance with the dog pose. So come forward to plank just to give yourself a good measure. Shoulders stacked right over the wrists, legs are charged strongly back, and then lift your hips high for a downward facing dog. From here, take your right leg, lift it up and back behind you. Let the knee bend, let the hip open up to the side. And then squaring off the hip, extend the right leg long. Look to your hands and step the right foot all the way forward alongside of the thumb. Once you find the right knee bent to 90 degrees, knee and heel are stacked. Tap your back knee down. Point the back toes long and then begin to lift the chest up. If it's available, take your arms up alongside the ears, and then with the arms up, take your elbow grab. So hands reach for opposite elbow here. Grabbing for the elbows, then lift the elbow points up, lift the chest up, and you'll feel that essence of the back bend starting to find in the body. So from the belly of the back thigh lifting up, from the pubic bone to the navel to the sternum, everything finds a nice crescendo and lift. Reach the hands up, take your palms to the floor, frame the front foot. Tuck the back toes, and once again, just step back to downward facing dog. From there, the left leg lifts up and back behind you. Allow the knee to bend, let the hip open up once again. And then squaring off and re-extending your left leg long. Big step with the left foot through alongside the thumb. Once again, the back knee taps down, point the back toes long. If you found that you wanted to pull the hips back initially, try and keep the hips forward here, and then reaching the arms up as you're ready. Reach the arms up alongside the ears, reach up through the fingertips even, and then take your elbow grab, and just to try something new, maybe switch the forearm that's on top so you go for your non-habitual grip. Once you're there, lift from the front line of the body up through the elbow points. Take a nice full breath in. And exhaling the air out. Good, releasing the hands down, frame the front foot, tuck the back toes, and then step it back to your downward facing dog. From your dog pose, come forward to your plank position, open the chest, look out in front of you, and then take a really slow bend of the elbows and release all the way onto your belly. Good, from here, point your toes long, zip your legs together. Take your hands behind your back, interlace the fingers. Pull the knuckles back, lift the chest up, begin to gaze forward out in front of you, and then lift your legs up as well. Thighs lift, toes pull back. Take a breath in, maybe tuck the chin in just slightly so there's no tension on the neck. Shake your head out gently, no here. One more cycle, lift everything up just a little higher. And then release it all down. Relax and take one cheek down to the mat. With one cheek on the mat, let your hips rock a little side to side. And then second round, bring your forehead back to the mat, bend into both knees, reach your hands back in, catch for the tops of the feet. Once you have the tops of the feet, kick the feet into the hands, lift the chest, gaze forward for your bow pose. Weight can rock a little more onto the belly here, toes can lift a little higher. Take a breath in. And exhaling out, one more like that, breathing in. Good, and exhale, release. Take the opposite cheek to the mat, relax the arms, relax the legs. Let the hips once again just rock easy one side to the other. And then taking your hands right alongside the rib cage, use your palms, press up just onto the knees and the shins. Walk your knees underneath you and then come to stand up without the hands. So you're just on the knees and shins. Make sure the knees are set up about hips distance apart. So that's, roughly underneath the hip points themselves. And then take your hands to your low back. Elbows will start to pin back behind you. Fingers can point towards the floor and then wrap the elbows back a little more. Lift the center of the chest up. From here, you can stay here with the hands on the low back and just that gentle lift of the sternum bone to the ceiling. If it's available, start to tip up and back like Chrissy's doing, up and back, and maybe the hands can reach down for one heel at a time. And then once you have the hands on the heels, lift the center of the chest up a little bit more. Hips stay stacked right over the knees. Take one more cycle here, breathing in and exhaling out. Without twisting, lift the chest back up to stand. Good. And then from here, take your knees together, your feet together, and just have a seat down on the heels for a moment, just to give your back a moment to find its way in space. Settle in. Flip your palms to face up, let the eyes close. Breathe wide into the back side of the body. Nice full breath in. And exhaling out. One more here, breathing in. And exhaling the air out. Let the eyes flutter open. Interlace your hands in front of you. Flip the heel of the hand forward, reach it up and overhead. And then we're going to do a funky sort of exercise. We call it shoulder flossing. It's sort of weird. Take your hands over towards the right. Keep the palms facing to the ceiling. Draw the hands behind the head. Over towards the left side and then reach the arms up. Two more just like that. Over to the right. Bring the hands behind you and then up. And then one more time on this side. Good, and then swap it out. Go to the left side. So bend the elbows to the left, sweep them behind the head, out to the right and lift up. And do two more just like that. Sort of feeling around how the shoulder blades can glide on the back side. You can manipulate where the arms are placed. And after that, releasing the hands just down to the floor. Let's step our right foot forward, left foot forward. Come to stand at the top of your mat. We'll start to work into some balancing from here. So shift the weight onto the left foot. Take the right knee into the chest. Walk your hands down the front of that right shin, catch for the ankle, and then drop the knee down. Pull the right heel close in towards the seat. And then let's take the left arm and reach it up towards the ceiling. From here, you're going to start to work into kicking the right foot back. So let's adjust that right hand first. Swerve the hand to the inside of the foot so that the thumb is pointed up toward the ceiling, and then begin to kick the foot back. Reach the arm forward, kick the foot back, reach that left hand forward. More of a kick back before you reach the hand forward so you don't tip too far out. And then draw the knees back into the same line. Good. Release the arm down, release the leg down, maybe a moment to just shake it out. And then the second side, weight into your right foot. Take your left knee into the chest, give it a squeeze in, and then take a walk down the front of that shin. Find your way all the way to that left ankle, drop the knee down in the same line as the right. Take your right hand, reach it up. Adjust the left hand if you haven't already, grab for the inside of the foot, and then from here, kick the foot back. Kick the foot back and the torso will begin to tip forward. Foot tips back, hand tips forward. Good, take one more cycle here. And then drawing the knees towards one another. Good, release the arms down, release the foot down, shake it out a little bit. And then taking your feet together so you have one big foot underneath you. Bend your knees, sweep the fingertips to the floor, tip the torso up for a moment, just be in a chair shape. Think the thigh bone's heavy, lift through the waist, lift through the arms. And then from here, letting the knees bend even more, begin to squat the seat low. Reach your hands forward, 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 until you can find the seat on the floor. Feet out in front of you now, pull the belly back and into the spine, and then slowly, slowly, slowly roll down. Good, once you're rolling down to the floor, I'll have Chrissy start to demonstrate this. Pull your heels in a little closer towards the seat so they're about hips distance apart. She's gonna press down through her feet, lift her seat up, and start to take a bridge pose. Once the hips are lifted, she'll rock her arm bones more underneath the shoulders. Hands can be interlaced behind the back if you'd like. Maybe swap the interlacing if you want to keep track of that. Press through the big toe ball mound of both feet so you're not lifting the feet off the ground. Wrap the inner thighs together, lift the hip points up, the chest lifts up towards the chin. Good, take one more breath in here. As she exhales, she'll release her hands first, and then slowly the spine finds its way back to the floor. So second variation we can take from here. If you want to take a deeper back bend, we'll take it into a full wheel with hands alongside the ears. If you'd prefer to stay with the bridge pose that we just did, please do so. Or if you have a yoga block alongside you, put a block under the sacrum and have a supported bridge. Hands are set up alongside the ears here. She'll press her hands and feet down, lift up into her full wheel. As she presses up, both arms start to extend, both legs start to extend, her hips start to lift her high. Good, find the breath breathing into the front space of the lungs here so you really open up through the top of that chest, clearing out. Good, take 2 more cycles of breath in. And exhaling out. 1 more, breathing in. Good, as she exhales, she'll tuck her chin into the chest, slowly bending the elbows. She'll find a release. Head on the mat, torso on the mat, seat on the floor, and then just take your feet as wide as the mat. Drop the knees into center. Let one hand rest on the belly, one hand on the chest. So instead of doing anything too extreme in the opposite direction after a full back bend, take some time to really neutralize and bring the spine back to a more settled state. Listen to a few cycles of breath here. You can let the eyes close and start to let the practice cool down. Let your knees windshield wiper from one side to the other, just a tiny bit from one side and then the other, good. And then from here, we're gonna take a final reclined supported pose called Supta Baddha Konasana. I'll ask that if you're doing this at home, use some props. So this can be with a towel that you have or a blanket. If you have a yoga blanket, that always works, that's great. You're gonna heel toe your feet together so the soles of the feet touch. Knees will butterfly open. And then from there, you can just take your blanket and wrap it around the fronts of the feet and around the outer hips. So for Chrissy, I'm just gonna give it a nice long roll so she has a lot of wrap around her, over the tops of the ankles, and then it wraps around the outer hips. And then the knees open out into that so there's just a bit more support under the thighs so the hips don't feel like they're hyper opening up. You can take maybe a few minutes here if that's comfortable for you. You can take 5 or 10 breaths. When you're ready, you can draw your knees together. Extend your legs long and take a final moment just resting in Shavasana. Arms alongside the body, legs spread. Eyes can be closed and just follow a few cycles of breath. Feel free to stay a bit longer if you'd like. If you're ready to move on, you can take some small movements with the fingers and toes. Let the head rock a little side to side, and then reaching the arms up and overhead, point the toes long, bending one knee at a time, curl over to the side. Use your hands to press the floor away, lift your way up to a seat. You can put a little something underneath the seat, maybe your blanket or a block. And then sitting up nice and tall, hands just settled onto the thighs, let the eyes close, put yourself on a center line running through the body. Survey the work you've done, the shifts and the changes from just even that short bit of practice. Notice the space you've created and the space you've settled to. Hands to a prayer at the center of the chest, lift the chest up, let the chin bow in, and take one final clear breath in. And exhale the air out. Namaste. Thank you guys.